Multi-passionate people, this is why we get stuck spinning our wheels, stuck in decision paralysis over and over and over again, beating us up, creating a lot of internal anxiety through our overthinking. So I'm going to explain this, right? We, with divergent thinking brains, means that we're idea machines. We have an idea, which creates another idea, which creates another idea. We can spot the patterns and how to join dots between different ideas to bring them together to create new ideas. This is a huge advantage when we're solving other people's problems. It's a huge disadvantage when we're solving our own problems. Why? Because of the paradox of choice. So let me explain. We have lots of ideas. So let's say we want to have start a new business. So lots of different business ideas, or maybe lots of different marketing strategies, or lots of different, whatever it might be. We have so many different ideas that we get overwhelmed with the paradox of choice because we're terrified of picking the wrong idea and wasting our time. And that is because we don't want to feel that we're being left behind. We have these things called time anxiety, right? But equally, we don't want to see ourselves, our identity, as people that are bad decision makers. And you know this because this has been a problem for you since you were a child. Ever since you were a child, if you look back, a lot of your stress and anxiety, it was coming up with decisions. I know because I see this all the time. I see it in my clients, I see it in family members. I see divergent thinkers really struggling to make decisions, and it creates a lot of stress and anxiety in the moment. So this is not new. This is something you've had since you were a child. This is something you have now as an adult, and it was something you will always have until you learn this. And the reason that we get stuck in these things is because we are black and white thinkers. We think that if all the options available to us, only one can be successful and the rest of them are all doomed to failure. And our brains are trying to work out which one of those ideas is the successful one so we can discard all the ones that are doomed to failure. And that's just not true. Any idea can be successful. It is not the idea that creates the success, it's you executing. However, that's a different video for another day. What we're talking about here is we're talking about the paradox of choice. So you are terrified to make a decision because you're scared of picking the wrong one and wasting your time. So what your brain is doing is your brain is trying to go through all the different variables of all the different ideas, and there's just too many different variables, too many situations that are out of your control, and as a result, it's impossible for you to find certainty in a place of uncertainty. But consciously, you don't understand this, right? And that means you get stuck. And when you are stuck, you're not moving forward, so you're getting a lot of stress and anxiety. And that means you start procrastinating, because procrastination is your emotional management system avoiding the stress and anxiety of being stuck. Okay? So when you're procrastinating, you start doom scrolling, you start watching Netflix, you start whatever it might be, YouTube. And then you start beating yourself up. And why do you beat yourself up? Because your self-esteem is directly linked to your productivity. And if you're procrastinating, you're not being productive. And if you're not being productive, you're beating yourself up. And why is this such a problem for you? Because it was either directly said or it was implied as a child that you were lazy. And you've never been lazy. The definition of lazy is you have to do a thing, you can't be bothered doing a thing, and you don't care. And that's not you. You have to do a thing, you can't do a thing, and then you beat yourself up mercilessly for ages because you can't do the thing. That's executive dysfunction. However, a lot of people, your teachers, maybe your parents, maybe your friend group, whatever it might be, your peer groups, did not understand this, so they assumed that you were just lazy. And as a result of that internalized trauma being called lazy, right, you now base your whole self-esteem, your whole identity on being productive. And that is why you're a workaholic. That is why you're constantly beating yourself up if you're not always being productive, right? And, I don't know about you, but my report cards always said, oh, he could be anything he wanted to be if he just applied himself. Someone, only in the last couple of weeks, someone very close to me who's got some toxic traits said, oh, when you put your mind to it, you can be really determined. That's not the case at all. My mind is always on being determined, and I've achieved lots and lots of things, way more than the person who actually said this. However, they have this impression of me as a child, and that has stuck with them, and then they use their toxicity and passive aggressiveness in order to relay that to me, right? Anyway, I'm digressing. So, procrastination, beat yourself up. When you're beating yourself up, you're losing your confidence in your ability to make decisions, so you start avoiding making decisions altogether. And that is why you get stuck spinning your wheels over and over and over and over and over again. So, how do you get out of this? The only way to get out of this is to make a decision and take action, which sounds so simplistic and so lame. But what it means is that you have to experiment. So let's say you have 3 different business ideas. Which one is the one that's the most curious to you or the easiest to get started? If one of them means committing to some sort of business and taking out a lease on some sort of bricks and mortar premises and investing tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds, I say avoid that one. That's the last one you want to do. If it's something easier, like being a creator, like writing a book or starting a podcast or starting a TikTok channel or becoming a coach, whatever these things are, these things are a lot easier to get started because you don't have it's a time investment as opposed to a financial investment and time investment. So the point is that you just experiment. So let's say you want to start grow on TikTok to promote your coaching business. Great. So do 30 videos in 30 days on TikTok. And at the end of that time, if you don't enjoy it, you can walk away and say, I tried TikTok, it wasn't for me, I'm now going to go and try LinkedIn. And you do the same on LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, whatever it might be. And this is because you're just experimenting with different ideas. And why is this so important? Because in our brains, when we say, hey, I'm going to go and do TikTok, we start fantasizing about having 100,000 followers, about getting millions and millions of views, and so on like that. And it's too big a jump. And that doesn't happen instantly. We think, oh, this isn't for us. We go away, and then we beat ourselves up for quitting and being a failure. Whereas if you go into it as an experiment and say, hey, I'm going to do it in a container, 30 videos in 30 days, and if I don't like it after that period of time, I can walk away. What you're doing is you're disengaging, you're removing your ego and identity from the success in that. The success is just showing up for 30 days. You can do that because your brain is you get a lot of dopamine from challenges and stuff like that. So you can definitely do it. So the only thing you have to do to be successful is do whatever task it is, whatever idea you've got for 30 days over a period of time. If it's a Substack, you do 4 articles in 30 days. If it's YouTube, you can do 4 videos in 30 days. Whatever it might be. It's a 30-day container, and after that period of time, you can decide. And the best thing about it, what I found, is I announced it in advance and say, hey, I'm doing this experiment. I'm going to try and do 30 videos in 30 days. And people were interested in that. They were, oh, that's really interesting. And that gave me a get out. I did not feel like a failure should I not have continued on. Now, as it happened, on day 31 of my 30-day challenge on TikTok, I had a viral video, I ended up getting tens of millions of views, 150,000 people, 6-figure business, etc., etc. But that is because I didn't have so much pressure on myself. There wasn't all this, I need to do this from the outset. I did as an experiment. And that's what I suggest you do. And if you treat everything like an experiment, that keeps you moving, because something that's in motion stays in motion. Something that stays stuck will remain stuck. So you have to remove your identity, remove your ego, pick one of your ideas, the easiest one to get started, and just test it for 30 days. If you don't like it, pivot, moving on. All these ideas are reversible. Nearly every decision is reversible unless you go and sign some sort of legal document on a lease or for some sort of bricks and mortar retail premises or something really heavy. And I would suggest you avoid that and do easier to set up businesses. So I hope this helps. Peace out.